Hello, grade twos. Are you out there? Checking to see how you're doing. Hopefully, you're doing well. Hopefully, you're getting the stuff we're sending in our homework packs. There's treats and things and crafts and all sorts of neat stuff in there. So make sure you're checking it out. Edward and I are ready for another story. Hopefully, you are too. Let's take a look. Today, we're going to look in our Disney Storybook Collection, the Pixar edition. Let's flip and see. Oops. Today, we are going to read Monsters, Inc. So grab your snacks, grab your comfy spots. Are you ready to go? Waiting. No response. Anybody there? Hello? Okay, here we go. Monsters, Inc. J.P. Sullivan was a scarer. He worked at Monsters, Inc., collecting screams from human children. Screams were important because their energy powered the city of Monstropolis. Sully was very good at his job. In fact, he and his best friend Mike were the best scare team at Monsters, Inc. That made another scarer named Randall jealous. He wanted to be the number one scarer. All day long, Mike set up closest to the doors for Sully. And all day long, Sully walked through the doors into sleeping children's rooms and scared them. One evening, Mike was on his way home when Roz, the file clerk, asked for daily paperwork. Mike had forgotten to do it. Sully offered to do the paperwork for him. What a good friend. Uh-oh, what's going to happen? When Sully returned to the scare floor, he found a child's door still in the scary station. He peeked through the door. No one was there. Sully closed the door and stepped back onto the scare floor. Suddenly he felt a tug on his tail. "Kitty!" a voice called. It was a human child. Sully screamed. Everyone knew that human children were toxic. He tried to return her to her room, but she wouldn't go. Finally, he hid her in a bag and went to find Mike. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Mike was out for dinner with his girlfriend Celia. Suddenly he saw Sully through the restaurant window. He was gesturing for Mike to come outside. When they were alone, Sully explained what had happened. As they talked, the girl escaped and began running through the restaurant. Mike and Sully were definitely in trouble. Sully scooped up the girl and the friends raced back to their apartment. They had to figure out a way to get her home. And fast. Mike and Sully tried not to touch the girl, but as Mike backed away from her, he tripped and fell. The little girl giggled. The lights flashed brightly and then went out. Her laughter was more powerful than children's screams. Later, after Sully put the girl to bed, he told Mike, "This might sound crazy, but I don't think that kid is dangerous." The next morning, Mike and Sully dressed the girl in a monster disguise and took her to work. They had to get her to her door. When they arrived at Monsters, Inc., the office was crawling with child detection agents looking for the girl. Luckily, her disguise worked. When Mike went to find the girl's door, she and Sully played together in the locker room. "Boo," said the girl with a giggle. And then Mike returned. But there was another monster close behind. It was Randall. Mike and Sully ducked into the bathroom stall. They listened in horror as Randall told his assistant he knew all about Boo. He ordered his assistant to get rid of the girl. Randall left, and Mike and Sully snuck the girl onto the scare floor. But Mike had made a mistake. "This isn't Boo's door," Sully said. "Sully, you're not supposed to name it," Mike shouted, but he didn't have time to argue. Boo had disappeared. As Mike searched the halls, Randall cornered him. He told Mike to bring Boo to the scare floor. He would have her door waiting. Sully found Boo playing with some little monsters. Soon Mike caught up with them. He told Sully about Randall's plan. Together they went to the scare floor, but Sully didn't trust Randall. Determined to prove that the girl's door was safe, Mike stepped through it and was captured by Randall. Sully and Boo followed Randall. They learned that he had invented a cruel new way to capture screams from kids. He was about to try it on Mike. Sully rescued Mike and they raced off to find their boss. They had to warn him about Randall's plan. Sully and Mike found Mr. Waternoose in the training room. They quickly explained what happened. Mr. Waternoose promised to fix everything. But he was really working with Randall. Mr. Waternoose grabbed Boo out of Sully's arms and then pushed the friends through the door. They were stranded in the Himalayas. Sully knew Randall was going to use his machine on Boo. He had to rescue her. He and Mike raced to the nearest village and found a closest door to get back to Monstropolis. Sully reached Randall's lab just as Randall was about to turn on his machine. Sully tore the machine apart and saved Boo, but he still had to get to her door. Mike, Boo, and Sully climbed on a machine that carried the doors to the scare floor. There was no power. "Make her laugh," Sully told Mike. He knew Boo's laughter could turn on the doors. Suddenly Randall appeared. He chased the friends through the door after door. With Boo's help, Mike and Sully trapped Randall in a closet and shredded the door. The evil scare was gone for good. Boo wasn't safe yet. Mr. Waternoose and the CDA had taken control of the doors. They chased Boo, Mike, and Sully around the scare floor. "I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die," Mr. Waternoose told Sully as he reached for Boo. Suddenly, bright lights came on. They were in the training room, and Mike had just broadcast Mr. Waternoose's confession to all the Monstropolis. Now everyone knew Mr. Waternoose planned to take human children. He was arrested on the spot by the head of CDA, the cranky file clerk, Roz. She had been working undercover all along. It was time for Boo to go home. Sully followed her into her room and tucked her in bed. He said goodnight and sadly returned to Monstropolis. Roz ordered the CDA to shred Boo's door. No monster would ever scare her again. After the scare floor became a laugh floor and Sully became president of Monsters, Inc., but Sully missed Boo. One day Mike surprised Sully. He had put Boo's door back together. It was missing just one tiny sliver. Sully carefully inserted the last piece. Sully opened the door and peered inside. "Boo," he whispered. "Kitty!" The two friends were reunited at last. Okay, grade 2s. That was Monsters, Inc., which I'm pretty sure we watched in class because I really love that movie. So me and Edward are missing you terribly. Hopefully you guys are doing well. We'll talk soon. See you later, guys.